Hey everyone, and welcome to a mini-series of simple habits for indie game development. Over time, I've learned some neat tricks in making my own game Viewpoint, so I figure in this format I could maybe help you find some neat ways in thinking of this hobby if you decide to get into it for yourself. It can be a bit of a rough road to step into game development, but with a few adjustments in the way you approach it, the learning curve only becomes easier from here. In this episode, I think it would be best to talk about mindset. One's mindset is definitely important when it comes to development. It's the first thing that sits down in everyday sessions of creative work such as this. However, I know in person it can be hard to just sit down and use the brain, whether it doesn't want to work or wants to do other things besides development. So in spite of that, let's dive into some things I've noticed when trying to stir interest towards actually working on a game. So without further ado, enjoy. So setting some sort of time goal in a given span, at least for me, makes you want to sit down and make progress. Even if it is as simple as something as a piece of a version update or an entire overhaul of something. Time gives the brain notice that something needs to be done. Also, it is very good for pacing because then you can dynamically delegate the time according to the goal. This way of thinking of time management, people often think you have to set a limited time and that everything has to be 100% perfect, but that just makes everything seem like a huge rush in my opinion. You have to just remember that you are the one in development. You are the one making the art, doing the coding, modeling the environments, and etc. The only thing you have to do is make progress, and the only realistic way to do that in indie development is through set goals. Now, a question I bet everyone has asked themselves from time to time when doing this hobby is, have I done enough? When it comes to doing something like game development alone, don't ever care about this question, and here's why. The size of progress is how you set it. For me, I try to look at my game very retrospectively because that helps me see where I started to where I am now. As a developer, even if you are working with others, you have to see your progress positively, or you would never simply see progress at all. The embracement of this kind of work definitely helps boost the mood to do more because despite it possibly being very little progress and a large venture, it is progress nevertheless. In the end, no matter how many times you set goals or embrace progress, your brain just doesn't want to do anything. And that's okay too. Burnout happens all the time in this line of work. The individual experience isn't perfect. You would definitely experience times where things will feel like you're lacking control or you can't do any of the work you want to do. In these cases, there's a number of things you can do, but what I suggest you do, and is often what I do, is take a break from the workflow. Reset your boundaries to better fit the expectations of your life, and figure out what is best to do to jump back into development as soon as possible. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys use these pointers in the future to see that not everything is about pushing or rushing in the world of game development, but just trying to make progress. Games, especially in the context of doing it alone, it can definitely be challenging without the right mindset. I do really hope that some of these pointers do help you guys look at the side of things with a little bit of ease, and it can definitely be rough. But just remember, little nudges and changes in perspective do go a long way. So I guess, without further ado, this is Unknown, signing out.